Okay, looks like we are live. Hello, everyone. My name is Robin Bauer-Kilgo. I am the Association Manager for ARCS. Welcome to our May ARCS chat. I'm going to just say a couple quick things, and then I'm off camera for the rest of the time enjoying the show. So real quick, we are planning, ARCS is planning a sustainability meetup at the end of the month. The date is soon to be announced. So if you're interested in that topic, a lot of which was covered during the ARCS conference this year, I encourage you to go to our website, arcsinfo.org, to sign up for that meetup. It should be a good time. And our colleagues over in Europe are actually in the process of doing a call for abstracts for the ERC conference, which is happening at the beginning of November. So if you're interested in submitting for that, you can go to their website. I'll put a link in the notes for you guys to get to it. If you just Google ERC 2022, you can go ahead and put in a call for that abstract. And then finally, just as always a reminder, as we record the show today, there is a slight delay between the chat, which you can participate in if you sign into your Google or YouTube account, and when the actual recording is happening or the live stream. So just keep that in mind when you're communicating to everyone in the group. So without further ado, I'm going to hand this over to John Robinette. Have fun, and we will see you soon.
Hey everyone, welcome to May's edition of ARCS Chat. I'm John Robinette. I'm an independent collections manager based in the greater New York area. Before I get into the thick and thin of this game show that we're going to do today, I want to announce that Amanda and I will be departing ARCS Chat at the end of the season, which is June. And we are now in the search for the next generation of the chat. So if you or anyone you know has any ideas on how to continue the ARCS Chat legacy, any proposal is welcome. It doesn't necessarily have to be exactly as we're doing it now in terms of a live chat and podcast. Remember, this thing started on Twitter. It was a Twitter chat. So if you have proposals, please send your ideas to info@arcsinfo.org, and we'll get them assessed. And hopefully by the fall, we'll have a next generation of the chat. I mean, I'm wondering if we should even have like multiple ARCS chats, different time zones, different formats. Maybe some people want to do. Well, anyway, I could go on, but anyway, all ideas are interesting and accepted. So please send them in. So as we get on with our final two episodes, Amanda and I are going to kick off our grand finale with a game show. I don't know if you've heard of this YouTube series called Actually. It's a very easy concept for a game show. I'll read the question, and the panel has to correct the statement beginning with actually, and that's simply the concept. So joining us today to participate in the game show is our panel from Peru, Angelica Isa, who's an objects conservator. Angelica, tell us a little bit about your background.
Yes, thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Angelica Isa. I studied conservation in Durham, but I've been working at Ringling Museum in Peru for the Ministry of Culture, which you can visit over there if you want. I'm also on the community board for Conserve, which some of you may have heard about, which is a company that does environmental monitoring software. And I'm on the IIC Talent and Participation Committee. So if any of you are members and you are interested in participating a bit more with the IIC, you could definitely reach out to me. So I'm really excited to be here today. And thank you for having me.
Fantastic. No, thanks for joining us. Next, we have the two hosts of the C Word podcast. That's C for conservation, right? So joining us are Kloe, Rumsey, and today our judge is Jenny Mathiasson. So Kloe, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then I'll get to Jenny.
Hello, I'm an objects conservator. I work in Manchester in the UK. I'm specialised, I say I'm objects conservator, but I'm specialised in the conservation of large painted textiles. We don't tend to say the name of the institution that we work in just out of habit, really, even though everyone more or less knows where we work in the UK, just so we don't annoy employers, really. I graduated in 2013 from Cardiff University, and I've been working as the C Word co-host since 2017.
Good girl, you remembered.
And Jenny, tell us about yourself.
I'm Jenny Mathiasson. I am an objects conservator in Wales, where I run my own little company. So I can say where I work, but that's not plug too hard. But again, with the lovely Kloe, we run the See Where the Conservators podcast, which is amazing and fun. You should totally listen to it if you want to. And yeah, other than that, everyone's saying where they studied. So I studied in Cardiff, and that was 10 years ago. God, grey in my hair and everything. I'm getting on now.
Hardly.
Lovely to be here.
I'm not going to tell you when I graduated. So, and then lastly, but not leastly, Amanda Robinson, our esteemed ARCS Chat co-host.
Yes, I am a senior registrar and assistant director of collections at, I will say it, the John and Mabel Ringling Museum of Art in Sarasota, Florida, but hopefully they like me and it's okay.
I still can't figure out where you are after 3 years. So
Florida's a big state. It's okay.
So let's get on with it. So today we have a group of questions that Jenny put together that we will use, and she's going to serve as our judge to assess if they have been adequately corrected. So let me share my screen with y'all, and we'll get this party started. So as you can see, oh man, technology rules.
It totally does. It's seamless. It's seamless.
It's totally seamless, right? You would think after 2.5 years of steady Zoom use, I'd be seamless.
No
Here
one
we
is
are.
seamless.
All right, everybody ready? Everyone have a drink. Here we go.
Yeah.
Everyone have work.
Gonna be okay, guys.
We're
just here to have fun.
All right, here we go. Okay, so the 10 agents of deterioration are a list of forces likely to affect the condition of an object or a collection. The agents are physical forces, fire, water, pests, light, vandalism, climate change, incorrect temperature, incorrect relative humidity, and custodial neglect.
Do we just go?
Yeah.
Actually, climate change directly isn't one of the agents. I think it's replacing pollution.
Oh, well done, Angelica.
Oh, that was
Full
quick.
points.
That was
Well
quick. I was
done.
still counting them.
Yeah. Wow.
Same here,
Straight-
Kloe.
Straight out of the gate. Well done, Angelica. That's a point for Angelica. Hey, strong start. Love it. Yeah, that's right. So climate change is not officially part of the 10 agents of deterioration, although maybe we should add it as an 11th one, although 10 is such a nice number. So who knows?
10 is nice and roundish. So, all right, next, here we go. I got a chat screen in my way. Okay. While infestations are never funny, the museum world is full of pests with slightly funny names: vodka beetles, fire brats, red-legged ham beetles, grunions, and odd beetles.
Oh dear.
Actually, red-legged ham beetles aren't a thing.
They are
Did you make
completely
that
a
up?
real
Oh.
thing. They're a real thing.
No.
Yes, I've had some experience with them directly. They are not fun.
Oh,
Gross.
I'm going to say, actually, vodka beetles are not a real thing.
they are completely a real thing. They are very much a real thing.
I'm pretty sure I ate grunions as a kid. They were in a bag like potato chips. Did anyone
That's
else?
Funyuns. And they are delicious.
Yes.
We've had 2 guesses so far. Angelica, would you like a guess?
I guess actually grunions isn't a bug, I guess.
You absolutely get the point, Angelica, because grunion is actually a type of fish.
Is it
What?
really? What kind of
Interesting.
Where does this fish live? Do you know?
I seem to recall that it was in California waters, actually. So,
Wow.
you know, that sort of thing. But feel free to correct me in the chat if you would like. But grunion is definitely a type of fish.
Yeah, and anyone else who wants to answer in the chat, please go ahead. And
I'm
do
really
so.
enjoying the follow-up questions. Are they edible? I mean, I didn't. Honestly, I don't know. No, I had one myself.
Do you want to
Anything
eat a
from California?
grunion?
I mean, the name alone is funny, but it doesn't sound terribly appetizing. But,
No,
but fish names often don't, to be honest.
Then you could say you've had a grunion.
Oh,
it sounds like a character on SpongeBob or something. I don't know.
it sounds like a medical condition, and I'm not really sure
Yeah.
that's okay.
my grunions are
I've had
acting
a
up
grunion.
today. My grunions are really acting up. So, all right, all right. Let's move on here. Okay. Cellulose nitrate is a flammable material frequently found in collections. It self-ignites at a temperature of 65 degrees Celsius or 150 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's vital to keep storage and display areas well below this temperature and to store cellulose nitrate away from heat sources like radiators.
Oh, Chloe's waving immediately.
Actually, I don't know the temperature that it self-ignites, but I'm pretty sure it's way lower than 65.
Yeah.
You are
Terrifyingly
correct.
lower.
You are correct. But I will give you the point unless someone can tell me actually what the temperature is or would like to hazard a guess.
No, fair.
Hey,
Come
you
on,
might
Amanda.
still get the
Come
point.
on.
You might still get the point.
Is it oh, but I only know Celsius. I don't know Fahrenheit.
No, that's
Both
fine.
there. You can answer. They're both
Yeah.
there.
Is it like maybe 31 or something like that?
That would be terrifying. It is actually a little bit higher than that.
Oh, I was going to say 90 degrees, but it's been a while since I've looked into
I
cellulose nitrate.
foolishly only remember the Celsius now, which is very
So
silly.
it'd probably be like 40 something Celsius, maybe.
So actually, very degraded cellulose nitrate, it can self-ignite as low as 50 degrees Celsius, which isn't terribly high, really. Like you can see on extra radiator or in an elevated temperature situation that might happen. So yeah, that is proper scary stuff. It is when it's degraded, mind you. It's not just any old cellulose nitrate. But
Define
even so-
degraded. How degraded does it need to be?
I mean, I do believe the article I read did say that it needed to be a little bit powdery, like properly it's coming to bits.
Oh,
So that's quite degraded. But on the
Right.
other hand, if you don't look in your boxes very often, who knows?
Right.
That might be a nasty surprise for everyone involved. But yeah, it is terrifyingly low. I will give that point to Chloe because she did still say it and no one else got like quite correct answer. So I'm going to give that to Chloe.
Chloe's
That still
getting-
means Angelica is in the lead.
All
Come on,
right.
Amanda, you can do it. I believe in you.
I'm hobbling along.
All right. Yeah, we totally put you right in the middle of your expertise, right? I mean, who knows this, right? Besides conservators.
Give me a
all right,
loan
here-
agreement. I'll do a loan agreement.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I should have thrown something like that in there. Conservation materials come from all over the world. For example,
Araldite.
Araldite
Yeah.
started in England. Tyvek fibers were discovered in America, and paraloid was invented in Germany.
That's
Mm.
really hard.
This one you might have to just guess, but
I'm going
That's
to
okay.
say, actually, paraloid was not invented in Germany.
you are correct. Would anyone like to have a stab at where it might have been invented?
It's either the UK or America, because I think paraloid is not the original name. I don't remember the original name. So paraloid is like the brand name, right? But
It is the brand and it's true. I did actually go for the brand technically rather than the exact copolymer. But you are still correct. So I will give you the point. Because what I'm after here is actually paraloid or acryloid, as it's known in some parts of the world, is made by a company that started in Germany. But by the time they actually invented paraloid, they'd moved to America. So technically, it's probably no longer correct to say that it was invented in Germany, merely by a German company. So actually, it was made in America. It is a bit tricky.
That was sneaky.
Amanda was shaking her head like you should have just said acryloid. And she would've gotten it.
Fair.
She knew the other name.
I did. That was familiar as well.
Ah, you're so tricky. So tricky. Okay. Here we go. Every institution will have an emergency response kit tailored to their own needs, but in most of them, you'll find a copy of the emergency plan, stationery, small tools, gloves, and other personal protective equipment, clean water, plastic bags, caution tape, and absorbent materials such as sponges and towels. Oof, this is gonna be-
Thoughtful faces.
Actually, why would you need stationery in an emergency kit?
Oh,
don't think
that's
that would
not
be
what I'm
there.
after, but interesting. A lot of these kits do sort of state that you should have clipboards, notepads, pens.
Oh, so I
markers, that
thought
sort of thing.
stationery, like branded stationery for your
some
company.
letterhead.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I'm like, I mean, I guess we could be sending some letters.
Yes, a to-do
Oddly,
list.
oddly sexy.
Yes, Kloe.
Actually, you wouldn't store clean water in your emergency kit.
That is correct, Kloe. Well done. You get the point. That is not normally something that we include. It is, however, something included. It is definitely something that's included in what's called sort of personal emergency kit. So once you have at home in case of, an actual, natural disaster and stuff, that sort of thing, they do recommend that you keep some clean water, but definitely not for museums. So
So you
well done,
wouldn't
Kloe.
have like distilled water available in case you needed it?
A couple bottles in mine.
Yeah, see, there's no reason that you couldn't, but it isn't normally recommended as such. It doesn't usually make it onto the big checklists, which is what my nitpickiness here was about.
Does anyone in the chat have any responses to this?
Yeah, would love to hear. Does anyone actually keep water in their emergency kit? Because I would be curious.
We'll see if we get some responses coming in. Nothing so far, but we
Yeah,
are on a delay.
Some,
True.
some canned goods and baked goods.
You could be like Robin and have instant coffee in our emergency
Yeah,
kit.
I was going to say, like, just keep the emergency tea bags there.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, here we go. Next, many materials we look after are very light sensitive. These are normally recommended light levels under 50 lux, such as textiles, feathers, works on paper, and photographs. On the other end of the spectrum are more robust materials that are considered insensitive to light, like stone, ceramic, minerals, metal, and glass. These are often given a recommendation of 300 lux.
Actually, there are some minerals that are highly light sensitive.
That is generally correct. In fact, minerals are sort of classed as more of a moderately light sensitive thing because it does vary. Certainly. I mean, you could argue that it varies with absolutely everything, but that's, perhaps a little bit too nitpicky. But yeah, minerals are actually considered medium light sensitive and not insensitive as such. So that's a point for Kloe. Well done.
What are some minerals that would be more light sensitive than others?
That is a great follow-up question that I'm not prepared for at all.
I think Kloe is. Come on.
No, I don't actually. I haven't actually
Really
dealt
not.
that much with geology collections, unfortunately.
Nope.
But if someone in the chat does, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Well, the pigments would count, wouldn't they?
So what was that?
The pigments would count, just regular paint pigments.
Yeah, I mean, definitely some pigments do definitely, react poorly to light. So yes,
I know
definitely.
some are more susceptible to oxidization than others, but I have no idea what they are.
But I mean,
Get in the chat.
yeah,
in the comments.
exactly.
Yeah, please
Exactly.
let us know.
This is sort of drawing attention to how specialized each end of conservation is, right? It's like, if you're in painting objects, minerals, or geology, it's really bringing to the front that the specialties is so specific, right? So
Definitely.
Can't know everything.
I'm just
I
holding my
definitely
tongue because
can't.
I know most of these, but I just want to make sure it's fair game. Okay.
Currently, we're tied with Kloe and Angelica, but Amanda, I believe in you. You can totally do this. Don't let them win.
Amanda, I gave you all the questions. Come on.
You know what? I actually checked my inbox this morning in hopes that you would have.
Giving your guests you're just giving your guests the best run.
I guess I get your email wrong. So, all right. Lead is a toxic metal found in many historic items. Lead alloys and lead compounds may be found in objects such as theatrical makeup, pigments on textiles, colored insulation on wires, crystal wine glasses, oven gloves, fishing weights, sculptures, miniature figures, urns, toys, and rechargeable batteries.
I would actually I would say probably not rechargeable batteries, because I think those are lithium based or zinc based, maybe something like that.
That is a great guess. However, some rechargeable batteries do have a lead-based compound in them. Not all of them, but some of them certainly. So it can be in rechargeable batteries, depending on age and manufacturer, etc.
Actually, why would it be on coloured insulation on wires?
Was a lovely follow-up question. It is genuinely somewhere that, for example, the CCI notes state that you might find lead. So, fun fact, it might be in your wires if they've got coloured insulation on them. So,
how nitpicky are you being here? Like when you say pigments, because I've got quite a lot of painted textiles.
That's true,
but it's the pigment. The coloration is the lead. Is that a pigment?
Yes.
Is that what you mean?
It can be, yes. It can be, yes.
Okay.
Amanda?
But would it only be pigments on textiles? Wouldn't it be pigments on other medium?
I mean, it totally can be. I'm inclined to give you half a point there because it's not what I'm after, but of course that is technically true. That is technically correct, which is this game entirely. So sort of inclined to give you a point, actually, even though it's not the one I'm after.
Well, I mean, who's putting... Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go.
I was also like oven gloves.
Oh, they were.
Or you definitely get a point for that because that is the one that I threw in for fun.
Really? Oh, I was thinking asbestos. I was like, I will definitely.
That is exactly right.
That or X-rays, right?
There is definitely. It's likely that you will find nasty things like asbestos inside oven gloves, for example, at least historic ones, but probably not lead. So yeah, that's great. That's a great job. I love it.
Get a point,
Amanda.
Yeah, you do. You do.
Coming up.
Heck yeah.
I just want to, before we go to the next question, is there any responses from the chat? Anyone playing along?
Ooh, Adrian Reed had said that I also hear that opals are, but I'm not sure if I missed her comment, if she's talking about lead and pigments. Yeah, possibly. I missed a question because I had to step away for a second.
Yeah.
And then Pat, go ahead.
No, I was going to say maybe she was discussing the mineral.
Yeah. That sounds right.
That seems to make sense. And then Pat had noted that she said, I noticed the clue said every museum will have an emergency kit, if only that were true.
Fair enough.
Fair point, Pat. You make a good point.
Fair enough.
Pat gets a point.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, good call. All right, let's go on. Oh, are we at the end?
Oh, that's all possible? Your questions.
Oh,
that's all of your questions. I should number the slides, to be fair. However, it does mean that we're in an absolutely delightful position of saying that Kloe and Angelica have tied with 3 points each. So we have 2 winners. Amanda's runner-up with 1 point, but did exceedingly well. Bravo, guys.
Fantastic.
Yay!
So
we didn't discuss whether or not they actually win something, so we might arrange something. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. Now we have to get 2 things. Come on. or maybe we should score it like golf, and so those who get the least get the prize, right?
Is this just so you don't have to pay for shipping to Peru or the UK?
Partially. But also registrar solidarity, that sort of thing.
Ooh. That is fair.
So I have half a mind to bring in our practice questions from yesterday, but
that is slightly unfair.
Yeah. But will you remember them, right? I don't know.
Ooh. I don't know. That's why it's unfair. I was expected to know them.
No, you all did very well. Thank you all so much for playing. You've been great.
Great questions. Thanks.
Jenny, those were fantastic and extremely tricky. So
it is very difficult to think of questions that are actually like broadly conservation without going into an actual specialism. Because that's personally tricky. I should have kept more. I should have done some loan-based ones. I feel bad.
It's all good. It's all good. I mean, what did you use as a source? Are these sort of just your own general, what's the word? Facts or trivia?
I frankly leaned heavily on things like the AIC wiki, for example, and the CCI notes. Those are great resources to go to for this sort of thing. So partially that, and also just a couple of articles, because sometimes I was just curious. I was like, I wonder what this is. So yeah, I went down various rabbit holes. It's a dangerous task to give me the task of writing questions for a quiz show. Please, no one do that.
I want to know what an odd beetle looks like, please.
Yes, or a vodka beetle. I just see him holding a martini, but that's not.
Oh, they're just a bit brown.
Yeah, they're just
that's
brown and boring.
underwhelming.
Very much so.
But it is where vodka comes from. That's why it's called a vodka beetle. Right?
Stop it.
Oh,
What happened to potatoes?
What was that, Angelica, that you said?
We need the picture of the grunion, I think.
Oh,
oh
right.
nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll try to find a grunion for you.
Maybe I can find it and share my screen here. But I was going to say, have you dealt with any of these? Any of you have dealt with any of these pests before, like the vodka beetle or the ham beetle or whatever? What'd you call it?
Red-legged hand
Vodka
beetle.
beetle. Oh, but what? Yeah, I really like that they're called red-legged as well.
Yeah.
No.
The vodka beetles I have dealt with in the past, but only not like full-scale infestation, just finding them, which is something.
What type of materials do they tend to like?
Vodka beetles, they okay, so first of all, they are called vodka beetles because part of their species name is Smirnovi, so as in Smirnov the vodka.
Interesting.
Which is why that happened. They eat wool, textiles, carpets, skins, fur, probably feathers as well. So they're not great if you have taxidermy, for example. This is Oh
Grunions,
no.
ladies and gentlemen.
Those are grunions. Those are
Grunions.
grunions.
They don't look-
Nice.
Oh, I don't like it.
How about that?
I mean, I'm not
about
sure you.
that?
Oh, they're little.
Oh, but they're coming out of the mud.
Yeah, look at that.
Hi guys, grunions.
Yeah, definitely don't want this in your work.
No.
Artifacts.
Surprise
does have-
grunions.
It does have
Oh, wait.
silverfish vibes, though, doesn't it?
This guy's
Yes,
Oh,
it does.
We've got grunions again.
wow.
It's fun to say though.
It's fun to
is.
say.
And that's
And the vodka beetle, right?
Vodka beetle is literally just like this. It's just a little brown thing. It's not
Oh,
that
look at
interesting.
Oh
But
yeah.
Yeah,
Alright.
it's just a little brown thing. But you don't want to find them. That's it. They do
Absolutely.
bad things. They do bad
Every
things.
time I see a beetle, my heart skips a beat. In the museum world. Outside of the museum world, I'm not really that bothered by it.
Oh, right. In a
I found
horrified way,
furniture
not in a
beetle my
romantic way.
favourite chair yesterday.
Yeah. Yes, in a horrified way. I'm not typically in love with insects, but
But you live in Florida.
I know you think that I'd have better feelings towards them, but I don't.
All I have to do is look in my basement. I've got a very humid basement, and right now it's spider cricket season. So these things are just everywhere.
What's
Can't
a
escape it.
spider cricket?
That's
It
not a
is-
combination
That
of
does
words
sound
we're prepared
terrifying.
for.
Yeah,
is it a
it
spider
is.
or is it a cricket?
Yeah,
I
no,
was about to ask that.
I love animals that are named after other animals, right? So tiger shark, for example, it's but yeah, spider cricket is really it's not a huge cricket, but it does have the appearance of a spider. The legs are a slightly different shape, still same concept, but yeah,
I'm
they
looking it
are
up.
numerous
Mm.
here and
Fine.
and
I was
fun.
recently told really, really bad, like pest wise. I didn't know this, but I was there was we had a project with some entomologists, and they're like, oh yes, crickets, they're carnivores, they're
Ugh.
cannibals.
Oh, I see.
They're like, she's like, just treat them as if they were cockroaches. So now when
Oh.
I find crickets, I have to count them as pests.
Oh.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
I have tried the chapulines, the crickets in Mexico, and had them in a taco form. they were fried up, and they were crunchy and made even crunchier by the frying. And
Was it just like popcorn?
I will say it was. I didn't enjoy it. It was
Was it a significant emotional event?
Yeah, it was like very crunchy and earthy, as you might, it seems logical in retrospect, right? But yeah, it was not something I really want to replicate. Maybe it was just the place, though. Who knows? But I've done a little bit of bug experimentation. How about y'all?
I have not eaten bugs.
No, not really. We have ants though. They do make ants here.
Yeah.
Like fry them up and then you supposedly eat them like popcorn, but I don't think I could do it.
Yeah.
Because they're looking at
How
you.
How big are the ants?
Oh, biggish. Yeah. Like
blimey.
Oh, okay.
half an inch.
Yeah, we don't get beefy ants.
No, we get teeny tiny ants.
So
I do always think that IPM in Europe is like IPM on easy mode.
Definitely, definitely.
We
is.
get scary spiders, and that is not okay. But nothing that
No scorpions.
nothing that looks too Jurassic. Yeah, fine.
This isn't Australia where the spiders are like the size of your car.
I did really enjoy looking for types of pests that were available in different parts of the world for this question. Just to throw everyone off the scent a little bit. And it seems like the one pest that we all get absolutely everywhere is literally just the rat, because the rat has been on every ship going everywhere. So the rats are literally everywhere. But I was going more for an insect vibe and not so much a full rodent vibe.
Oh, I mean, this is a pretty interesting topic. I mean, if we make culinary arts out of IPM, then I think that we have really a new area of investigation, right? And,
come and pick your own beetles.
Exactly. Farm to table.
Oh no! Oh.
So, I mean, who wants to think of their collections as farms, right? But
This used to be our textile store.
No,
So,
it's a breakfast.
Amanda, is there anything happening in the chat? Any questions from listeners? Responses to some of the questions that maybe need follow-ups?
No, it's pretty quiet out there. We have had some resources shared, and then Robin did agree that Australia was terrifying.
Oh yeah,
Fair.
I feel like you'd have to watch out that it doesn't kill you if you're in Australia for the bugs, right? Like before you collect your monitors, you have to make sure everything's dead. Unless
That's probably wise in general.
Yeah, in general,
My
I do not like
attitude
things that are actually alive on the trust. That's not good.
I had insects sort of like jump at me from traps. Yeah.
What?
But I bet in Peru there's some frightening things as well, right?
You'd be surprised, but not, at least not where I am. We have tiny scorpions, but they're not, they're not Australia level scorpions. They won't kill you. They're just
Australia.
They're just scary because they're scorpions, but you'll be fine.
I love how unfazed you were by saying we have scorpions, and all of my brain is like, nope.
In fairness, I had a Chinese student last summer, and I famously despise spiders. I just can't spiders at all. So I was like, oh, so I'm gonna have you do IPM, everyone, for me, please, so that I don't have to do the spiders for a quarter, thank you. And she was like, oh, I like spiders are fine. And then she saw our spiders in the UK and was like, what the hell is that? That's horrific. I don't like spiders anymore. Like, sorry. Oh, this is my feeling too.
Do you have wolf spiders there? We have them here, and they are pretty large.
Again, with your things named after other things.
No, it's pretty great, right? And they are probably a good, they can be a couple inches in diameter, and
we don't have that.
well hairy. So
they're the big ones here are called house spiders, giant house spiders or something. But they're not technically wolf spiders, but they can be like
Yeah, with their
3,
legs.
4
They are.
inches.
Oh, wow, 4 inches. That's pretty
Not
impressive.
okay. It's not okay.
And they
In-
run across the floor as well when you're
They
sitting.
do.
Yeah.
In our
Yeah.
house, we call them gentleman spiders because you can sort of imagine them having little top hats because of
That
the
does not
scale
help.
of them. The scale of them, it lends itself to a little hat somehow, and somehow that pleases me. It makes it less
It
scary
does.
if they have little hats.
Robin
Name
wrote.
them. That helps me. Oh, go, there's Fred. Still haven't mustered up the courage to get him outside yet.
Pretty much.
Robin wrote into the chat that she's had live snakes on sticky traps.
No.
So
That's hard.
Florida,
Like snakes or snakes?
I
Dragging a trap
imagine
around.
on the smaller side,
Robin, we need you.
Robin's like
God.
snakes.
multiple
No.
feet long,
Florida.
multiple feet.
Exotic Florida. Anyway.
Wow.
Nice.
Okay.
Aren't
Wow.
your monitors like this big?
Yeah,
Wait,
but they can wear them as a hat, can't they? Or like maybe
There's
it's just a tip of a tail. Yeah.
tip of a tail.
Well,
on
and I
your-
think it depends on the type of traps you have down, because sometimes, like,
Yeah.
I can say also being in Florida on the exterior, I don't know if this is in other states in the US or it's like a southeast region thing, but they have large traps for like to catch rats and such,
Oh yeah, that's true.
and larger traps for other things. I'm guessing like snakes, and that's where you can collect some of those. We have those at our offsite storage. These larger traps. They do collect larger things.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
I like how we're being vague about larger things. Please, IPM experts in Florida, chime in. We want to know. In Australia too, if you're up.
Yeah, how do they make traps for those things out there?
Yeah,
I
right.
think
mean,
I still think one of my favorite stories that we heard on the show is that someone never knew until they took a new job. In fact, in Florida, I think that they needed to worry about gecko poop behind, or like lizard poop, in fact, behind paintings,
Mhm.
because that's for the lizard side.
Mhm.
I remember that.
And I'm like, you're right. I've never worried about that.
I think they're anoles down here in Florida.
Okay.
I'm sure there's a variety, because when you get to Miami, they actually have like a version of oh God, I can't remember. It's not a salamander, but it's like a very, very large gecko. They're not
Oh.
native, I don't believe. And the first time I saw them when I was in Miami, I was like, good God, what is that? And they were everywhere at the museum that I was at. That was outside at, because they had a sculpture garden. I was like, oh, this is so lovely. I'm like, oh my God, this animal is chasing me. I was
Wow.
terrified.
Well,
Let me
I
see
was
if I can
trying to
find those.
imagine a scenario where you'd have to worry about these larger things, because I'm like, well, there's no way they can get inside a storage facility. But I guess if you have a sculpture park of some sort, and it'd be easy for things to nest in the nooks and crannies of some of these things. So, but
I suppose it
maybe,
depends on if you have like an open front door sort of policy, or like if the museum is open, you've got the front door
Mhm.
open, and maybe there aren't doors in between the galleries, then anything can just wander in and make itself at home, I suppose. Like a
wow,
particularly striking lizard.
this IPM discussion is amazing, right? This is one for the one
It
for
got
the
wild.
fire brats. We didn't address that one.
Oh yes.
What on
I
earth
don't
is
think I've
that?
ever seen one live.
Fire brats are not a thing for us in
Yeah, I
in
don't
the
think
UK. So
Maybe-
also my other half was sure that one was made up.
Did you test them on him?
No, he came in and he demanded to see the questions in a sort of a I would like to sample the questions. That's fine. You won't know any of them. And yeah, he did not think the fire brats were a real thing, but they totally are, but just not here.
Hold on, I'm searching for it.
It's just like a brown silverfish, isn't it? Like
Oh
a
yeah. I know. I've seen this.
I was
Hold
gonna
on.
say I recognize the name, but I don't know. I'm sure they probably are in Florida. What isn't in Florida?
You have termites as well, don't you?
Oh yes, very bad.
Oh, we have
Yeah.
termites too. Yeah.
Fire brat. I
Terrifying.
mean,
Back leg.
this is frightening. So
But yeah,
I
you're right.
mean,
They do look like brown.
They look just
Yeah,
like
they
just
totally
like
do.
silverfish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
must be same family or something.
Mm.
What are they problematic for?
Probably the
Mm.
same thing. It's like paper, mold. They probably graze mold.
Mm.
Just
Yum 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 yum.
great in a taco.
They're not as
Oh,
bad as
man.
house centipedes. I think house centipedes are more terrifying than silverfish or any of those.
Oh, it's an
Aren't there
interesting
some
one.
parts of the world that you can only get bitten by a centipede twice or something? And after that, you might just die next time.
Kloe, what have you been reading?
I'm sure Neris told us on the show once.
Oh,
Did
that
she
might
not?
be true. I don't know. I don't remember this, but that's fine. I probably
I'll
just
have to
blocked it
ask
out.
Centipedes are probably poisonous, aren't they? I mean, that would,
Mm.
but not house centipedes, I don't think, not the ones that they get in the US. I've only ever seen them in the US.
Other insects that you get a lot of that you don't worry about, that are just insects, but they're not going to eat your collection. Do you get that in your bits of the world?
I get wood lice.
Do you worry about
Yeah.
those? Are they just there?
They feed my resident household case bearer population.
Oh, I see. Ah.
So I tend to find on my monitors, I find like the remainders of what once was a woodlouse or a
Oh, I
cricket,
feel bad for the
dear.
woodlice.
and lots of like little cases around it. And I
Mm.
used to be very confused because I used to think I had regular case moths, and then I didn't. And then it wasn't the right one.
Collections care is so glamorous, y'all.
I wanted to I do want to throw out our previous questions for our listeners, the ones that we use as our practice yesterday, and see if anyone listening can actually answer this. And I will try and share my screen without sharing the answer, however. So let's see if I can accomplish that.
Answers on a postcard.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, here we go. I see what everyone can accommodate here. All right, so humans have used many things as adhesives over the millennia, and many of them aren't actually what we call conservation friendly. If there were conservators a couple of thousand years ago, they'd likely swear quietly over someone's use of fish glue, pitch, or the oldest adhesive we know of, animal glue. Anyone out there have any responses? And remember, your response has to begin with actually. So this I will point out that nobody got this correct yesterday when we practiced this, and it's
It is
typically
quite a tricky
deceiving.
one, to be fair.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah. So and maybe should I throw the other one out too? Maybe I should. Oh, I just showed you answer. Go.
This will not be applicable on the podcast version.
Exactly. That's why I have to read it. So but I mean, who was it that pointed out that fish glue is an animal glue?
I mean, I guess it depends on how broadly you take it.
Right, exactly.
And also,
But-
we had quite a nice discussion about how the various animal glues can be pretty good.
Right.
They do have their uses. We still use them, actually. So
Yeah.
actually, it's, yeah.
For gluing animals together, of course.
I'm actually considering the use of fish glue or isinglass in one of my next projects.
On textile?
Painted textile,
Not fish.
Okay.
not fish. No.
It's your
Not
gluing
grunions.
fish to a textile.
Oh, back to the
Glass
grunions.
has like a more shiny finish.
Isinglass, well, a fish
Yeah.
glue.
Yeah.
It's actually used for the conservation of matte surfaces. One of the things that can be used as conservation of matte surfaces, along with fenori, which is from Japanese seaweed.
Oh, interesting.
Anyone chiming in on this? It is a tricky one.
Nothing yet.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and display the answer here. And actually, the oldest adhesive we know of is birch bark tar, used around 200,000 years ago. Can someone please explain what birch bark tar is?
No.
Is that you won't or you can't? You refuse.
I refuse on principle. What I was going to say was that obviously when you think about things like animal glue and fish glue, it's something that you've had to process, right? You've had to boil something for a while to create a goop that you can use. As for this stuff is something that's more naturally occurring, that it's a little bit easier. And we found them used in very early tool usage. So the theory is that they've been used to glue rocks into handles, for example, to create axes and stuff like that. So it seems to have been an old favorite for early humans, and that sort of thing, which is quite cool, really.
Neanderthals specifically, I just looked that up.
Indeed.
That's so cool.
Indeed.
So
Wow.
would they have picked it up from a tar pit somewhere that they found and then just used it?
Presumably for this sort of stuff, it will have been something that was naturally occurring, and then they were like, this works. As with many things, it may have been an accidental discovery.
But Angelica, yesterday you mentioned that garlic is also used as an adhesive as well, right?
Yeah, this is cool.
Yes, but that was that's very specific for gilding. So it's like I think it's called garlic gilding. And because really all you need to do is like if you cut up garlic, if you've ever, I'm sure you've, like when you're cooking, the juice that comes out of the garlic is
sticky, I suppose. Yeah,
it's very sticky, and I think they just kind of soak that in water, and it makes the water have this tack, and that's enough for very old gilding techniques in Italy, I think.
Wow, these flames
also
stink.
tasty.
And then you can lick it when you're done.
Yeah, exactly.
Lick your brush.
That's how it works. It interacts with the saliva when you lick it.
Oh, speaking of saliva, isn't that interesting that it's the enzymes in your saliva are actually very good for cleaning surfaces, like glazed ceramic surfaces, which I didn't realize until I saw our objects conservators licking a Q-tip and using it to clean a glazed ceramic. So I'm like, what are you doing?
Yep.
It would be best if you spit in a cup rather than you put.
Yeah.
I have tried that, and it's actually
Does it not work?
It does work, but you can't. This is graphic. You can't monitor the amount of saliva so easily because it's a dip rather than a sort of suck. But if you're doing it directly from your mouth, you do have to be careful about, the cleanliness of what you're dipping into. Like you can't double dip. And you can't you'd have to be really careful about reusing the stick that if you were making your own Q-tips. So potentially you'd want the fresh ones, the ready-made ones.
So have you pH
like
tested your saliva before you do that? Do you just
No, I haven't actually, but the general advice is don't eat loads of sugar or something beforehand. Like don't eat beforehand. And specifically don't eat sugar beforehand, which is a major problem for me. So
wow.
I definitely remember I was cleaning, or I was thinking about cleaning like a Tibetan sculpture a long time ago, and I thought about saliva, and luckily we had a llama available locally in London. Ask because
in London.
There's there are various like Buddhist institutions or temples, and they have llamas in them. So you like not Peruvian llamas, like Buddhist monk llamas. And then you ask them because they say the figure is very sacred. So I was like, I don't want to be spitting on, kind of spitting on it while I'm cleaning it. So I wanted to make sure that it would be okay for me to test saliva on it before I actually did that. But that was kind of cool.
That is amazing. Also, well done for doing that.
Yeah. Things you never think of, right? All right. I'm going to go to this other one and see if this, I think, might have been the most difficult one. Oh, don't
for sure
look at the answer. All right. So again, chime in if you have any thoughts on this one. For anyone dealing with information stored on things such as optical discs or magnetic tapes, it's important to keep backup copies. Ideally, 3 copies of the information should be made and 1 copy should be stored off-site. If the same type of storage media is used for one of the copies, it's vital to use the same brand. Paraloid. This one is exceedingly tricky, and
we debated all sorts of aspects of this one, which I thought was really cool, actually, because we had a go at guessing which bit might be incorrect.
Right.
Chloe got it off the bat, though, in our practice run.
Did she?
No, I didn't.
Trying to give you credit, Chloe.
Thanks. I mean, sorry. I mean, yeah, I did whatever. I said that you couldn't possibly have 3 copies of everything, but that's just you know,
Practicality.
given reality and storage space and things like that.
I mean, it does say ideally, to be fair, and also it just needs to be copies of the information, which might then be, if it's something on an optical disc, you might be copying that onto a hard drive, for example. That's one copy.
That's true.
And yes, that will take up space, of course, both digitally and physically, but only so much. And then you still need to figure out what to do with your other 2 copies, of course, but still.
Well, I just had a situation come up today where, the collection that I work with, they have a time-based media and it's being loaned to a museum. And we had a question like, do we actually have to do an loan agreement if there's really no physical thing going and to the exhibition, right? You're not actually loaning anything. I mean, look, you need to obviously document it and have some sort of official correspondence, but it was a slight tweak on the on this idea of like, what is the information, right?
Yeah, that's exciting.
So do you just send a copy then, a copy of the thing, and they'll just use them? Is that how that would work?
Oftentimes it depends on if there's any if it's just like a projection, perhaps you can send a copy and share it, but oftentimes there's some sort of hardware that might have to go with it. Sometimes it's a specific Mac Mini or some sort of archaic technology, like a slide projector from the 70s, or 16 millimeter film or whatever.
Are you saying a Mac Mini isn't archaic?
Exactly.
How
different
dare
generation. What do you think?
We have a
I'm running this
time-based media
podcast off?
piece that. Oh, go ahead.
What do you think we're running this Zoom thing off of, right? So, Apple IIe. So I'm going to be.
I was going to say, does anyone know of any artist limitations on the number of copies that could be made of a digital artwork?
Interesting.
Surely.
I guess, and how on earth would that be policed?
Well,
blockchain would police it now.
Honor system, probably. To be honest, but I would imagine that if an artist would, they could probably. I was going to say make that demand, but like make that the rule when they give the museum or collection the actual artwork, the file or whatever it might be, and might just say that this is only shown 5 times, so this can only be given out 5 times or something, and then it must be destroyed or something. You could say that, and then it would be obviously up to the institution to do that, much as it's actually up to the institutions to follow any of the instructions that any donor.
Exactly.
That's the thing. So it's not actually necessarily different. We do promise to look after everything. So
I wonder if that
self-destructs after a certain period of time.
Does blockchain do that? Would it allow you to?
Oh my God.
The blockchain is actually the perfect thing for it in order to track it. But you would have to enter it into a blockchain system and have it tracked that way. But
I don't even know what that is.
It's probably best you don't, Chloe.
It's something kids play with.
Excellent.
So
I wish it was as simple as a child's toy.
Anyone chime in on a response to our last statement?
I don't know. I think we're stumping them.
Yeah,
that is fair.
All right. So the answer is actually you should use a different brand of storage media to minimize the risk of loss. So explain that one.
Well, it's more so let's say that you were so let's say like in the statement, it says use the same brand of storage media. So you get the exact same type of CD or something that you want to copy it onto, but then that might have the exact same flaws, right? It might degrade at the same rate. You're just introducing the same risks again, sort of. Of course, it'll never be perfect because ultimately there are batches of these things, etc. So even using the same brand of something won't actually work very well. But to keep it safe, you should use a different brand of the same storage media if you can, just to make that nice and safe.
That makes a lot of sense.
In an ideal world where we can still keep 3 copies.
Yeah, exactly. You get a message, your iCloud is full, buy more storage. So
you did not pay your hosting bill this week. Oh no.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, this type of media storage is really, I mean, we just did, what was it, last month or 2 months ago? We did a session with time-based media conservation, and it was, eye-opening, but also just sort of daunting, just how much there is and how specific, again, how specific each field is. But I mean, like that one especially is just so complicated because it's just so new for so many people. So thank goodness there are people dedicating themselves to that, because it is certainly new territory for most. So okay,
it must be extra challenging because like museums don't usually have the IT infrastructure that keeps up with the rest of the world, because we usually lag behind pretty heavily.
That is a very fair point. If you just think about collections management systems, we were talking about this not too long ago at my institution about how there's not necessarily like a very large competitive market because museums are really the only users of it, the only clients, and we're not necessarily out there demanding the way the world would demand of Apple or Google or what have you. So there's a little bit of a slow rise, slow change.
Yeah, well, I think also, especially with collections management systems, the amount of effort that it takes to change, it's not like, I don't like this product anymore. It's, I'm going to change my phone. I'm going to change, the brand of, cookware that I use or whatever. It takes, tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to change it. Plus, the time and effort. So it just makes it such that you really kind of will not change unless you are absolutely desperate. I haven't gone through this process once. It is a pretty gnarly experience. So, but maybe not everything is that way.
I think if we wanted to last forever, all we need to do is give it to Facebook, right?
Right. Can we start a storage facility on Mars? I mean, now I saw something, I'm trying to remember where I saw it, but it's something about sending art collections to space. Like
I see an accessibility issue here.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, does that accrue value for the piece that, this one's been to space, this is not like any Warhol I've ever seen. So yeah, right. So okay, with that, I think at this point we should probably round things up and call it a day. Thank you so much to all of you for joining us, Angelica, Jenny, Kloe, and of course Amanda. It's been a real pleasure to talk all things bugs and conservation. So where can we, Jenny and Kloe, tell us where we can find the C Word?
Yeah, you can listen to us. We are where all good podcasts are, but also you can go to our website, which is thecword.show, or you can tweet us at the C Word Podcast, or email us on the cwordpodcast@gmail.com if you fancy getting in touch. And you should. We're nice people.
We're super nice. We say very interesting things.
Obviously.
That is true.
We had a little Twitter banter discussing this, and we were like, oh, maybe we should do an alternate version where it's just really, R-rated, explicit. But that's what we come to
chat
expect
at night.
But this is what we expect from the C Word, right? But,
That's what you get on Patreon.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
Angelica, tell us where we can find out about you.
Yeah, so I've got a website, so angelicaisa.com, just like my name, or you can just reach out to me on Twitter as Conservalama.
Perfect. And what can we find on your website? You keep a blog, I think, right?
Yeah, it's on there. It's on the website. So
Perfect.
yeah, myname.com.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. Again, we will put this out as a podcast this coming Friday on all good places where podcasts are found. And let's see, anything else? Remember, if you are interested in maybe being the next host of ARCS Chat, please send us a proposal, info@arcsinfo.org, and we will consider all good options. And I'm not choosing, so I'm not going to tell you what good is, but throw out some wild ideas. I think the board will be responsive to it. So with that, we will close things out. Thanks so much for joining us this week, and we will see you next month with Amanda and I's final finale. Is that redundant? Anyway.
I like it.
We're going to have multiple finales. All right. Thank you so much.